Hey, fellow reefers, this is Izzy here. I've started a 5 gallon reef tank about 3 months ago. Just putting this up there so I could have a point of reference. Everything seems to be fine in the tank. Most of the stuff in there was purchased from a single location called Tropical Fish Haven here in Corpus. The only thing that was not purchased there is that bottom left is my giant clam. That was purchased from GC Reefers here in Corpus as well. There at the bottom right, there is a clove polyp. I did get that one. It was a little less colored when I did get it, so it is getting some more improvement. The clove tips are turning to a lime green now. They used to be like a faded green before. We are getting some more pinks in the stems. So overall, pretty good, going well there. So I'm happy about that. There in the center, I have my zoanthid. It has like a teal center with a maroon rim, and it has the lime green tentacles. I got that one with 6 heads. It is showing progress. We currently have 3 sprouts that are already getting their colors, so we're up to 9 heads on that one. Hopefully, that keeps spreading out. On the top right, we have the frog spawn, an LPS coral. That one there, it was smaller in the display, but it may be that it's just more comfortable here. It is about twice the size I got it. Again, everything in here has been sitting for about 2 months. At the bottom left, he's the newest addition. He's been there about a month. He's also happy there, not fully extended, not closed. He seems to be completely out absorbing the light. Talking about the light, I do have a Kessel A80 about at half intensity because this is such a small tank. It is a 5 gallon portrait tank. Um, there's a lot more to the top of it. You're seeing about half of it, but this is where I have all the coral at. The 2 fish I have in there is my black clownfish. He still has this orange face, which means he is a juvenile still. And the 6 line wrasse. When I did put in the clownfish, that 6 line wrasse was not happy about it and was bullying the clownfish for a little while. I did some research, and they're saying the 6 line wrasse should have been the last thing you add to your fish tank. Unfortunately, I did not know that at the time. But they did get along after about a couple days, just keeping an eye on them, making sure the clownfish is eating and keeping healthy. He didn't receive any damage, just constantly being bullied by the 6 line wrasse. Eventually, the clownfish did start defending himself and doing his stance and did calm the 6 line wrasse. It just depends on your fish, I'm assuming, but it is safer to do your 6 line wrasse at the end. I do have 3 snails in here, trying to keep the algae down. At the beginning, I did not have a timer for my Kessel A80. I was starting to get red slime, algae growth in the tank. So I did decide to purchase a timer for that. I run it about 9 hours a day in the evening, like that when I get off of work. It's completely illuminated until I go to bed. So I run it about 2 to about 11. That seems to be working. All the red slime has receded. The algae on the glass seems to have basically stopped. I do still have to clean it every now and then. In regards to cleaning, I do a 1/3 water change about once a week and check my parameters every day. 5 gallon tank, you have to. This is what I've researched, and they said is one of the hardest tanks to maintain. I did dive in head first and doing one of the harder tanks to maintain. This is my first reef tank, and I think I'm doing a fairly good job. Um, I think that's about it for today. I will continue updating if I add anything or if something's not doing as well as I want it to and its progress. But at the moment, it seems that everything is happy. Um, when I purchased the live rock, now that I'm remembering, I did start getting small creatures walking around, and off the top of my head, I'm forgetting what they're called. They were trying to mess with my frog spawn. I did do a freshwater dip on the live rock itself and was able to get an abundance of those small crustaceans out of there. I am starting to get filter feeders along the black of part of the back of the tank. You can probably see it underneath the frog spawn and right above that tall clove on the bottom right. Supposedly those are perfectly fine. They're filter feeders and they're a sign of a healthy tank, so I'm happy about it. I'll let you know if that becomes a problem. Feeding, tend to try to feed every other day, but sometimes these fish get the better of me and start begging for food. As soon as I get here, they're at the top waiting for food. I turn off the filter and ensure they only eat what they can, leaving nothing extra. Again, 5-gallon tanks are really hard to keep the parameters good. To keep my pH level up, I do have a stone aerator in the back. It's keeping my pH in about an 8.3. My ammonia is at 0. My nitrates, you can see the clownfish there in his defensive pose. 6-line rest, looks like he has an itch somewhere and he uses that back wall to scratch and causes the clownfish to go into defensive mode, doing his little poses there to make sure he stays away from him. I think it's hilarious, but you gotta do what you gotta do, I'm assuming. Overall, I've had a success on this tank. I've heard these things going completely wrong with bleaching and parasites, being that I use live rock. So far, so good. I do have a tiny little hermit crab there on the bottom right underneath the polyp. Again, 3 snails. If you enjoy these videos, these type of videos that you want to follow on progress, please subscribe. Post videos as much as possible. The clownfish actually has not been hosted by any of the coral in here. I'm kind of hoping he eventually migrates to that frog spawn, but I know it's not common. I definitely don't want to see an enemy in here since this is going to be a reef tank. Seeing enemies move around, sting others, and become a nuisance. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. Hit that like button for me. Let me know I'm doing well. Leave me comments if you have had a reef tank, and you have any pointers or if I'm missing anything. I do keep my salinity at 2.025 for the clownfish and the coral to be in a good parameter. Again, nitrates 0, ammonia 0, pH about 8.3, calcium about 400 parts. I do every now and then an iodine drip just to try to get the pinks out of these coral, and a strontium and molybdenum drips. That's the only thing I've added to the tank. I am invested pretty deep in a small tank, so if you're thinking about getting a tank like this, be ready to spend some money, and I can only imagine what a larger tank will cost. I am planning to get into a bigger tank, but I wanted to start with a small tank to make sure I myself invest the time to do it, and of course to learn how to do it. Did a lot of online research, worked out it seems. I'm very happy with the outcome. I take an hour a day approximately to maintain this small tank. I know it's going to be a lot less when the tanks are bigger. I'm thinking about between 29 to 40 gallons, which is still considered a small tank, but it's definitely not a 5-gallon. And as soon as I get that, of course, I'll post that video. But at the moment, this 5-gallon tank is keeping me busy. I'll post videos as often as possible, as mentioned. I do appreciate you stopping by. Again, leave any comments if you have any techniques or if you have any help you could give me. Y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you for stopping by.